All right. And I'm back. No, it's been a while, but that's because I'm learning how to make a game. That's right, I'm making a game, and I'm using Game Maker software to do that. And I've learned a bunch of stuff in the last couple of weeks, last month or whatever, and now I'm going to put it all to practical use. These are going to be long videos. I'm just going to kind of record the process as I go through making this game. And right here we have an empty canvas. I just starting off brand new. I did do one thing, and that is I went in here and clicked on Windows from Game Options, and I set it up to where the display name and all that is set up here, and I put it to save to the app data folder. And now I'm going to apply full screen. I'm going to put all of these to apply. That means when the application will run, it'll be full screen, it'll be switching. I'm not going to explain a lot of this stuff as I go. If you have the program, you can see whatever. And this really isn't going to be a tutorial on how to use Game Maker because I don't really know how to use it entirely. I mean, um, I'm learning as I go here, and I'm just going to kind of document it with this video and see what happens. First off, I'm going to set up some grouping here. This is the launch page, which is the very first page that loads when the game comes in, and it needs an object to run everything. This is a object oriented. We'll do this, put it on custom order so that I can keep these. And now let's add some colors here because like that. And then we'll do this one right here. So this way I know that if it's like the red, it's a room. If it's this, it's an object that runs from that room. Let's rename these. Keep a convention of putting an identifier at the beginning of all your naming. So rooms, I'm going to name them all RM. And for objects, I'm going to name them OB. So however you do that for yourself, that's your own thing. Except I don't want this to be called room. I want it to be called, I'm sorry, I'm a little high and I'm going to be smoking a lot of pot as I do this stuff. Launch, that's what I want. Room launch. And then rename this to OB launch. All right. Now what you do is you load up the room, go up here to the corner of the room right here, instances, and I'm going to drag this in here and put it right at the corner of 0, 0. That way anything that's created from this will be created with a reference of X0, Y0, and I can just manipulate it with the code from there. It's good to have a standard starting position when you load stuff in dynamically. All right. Now this is going to go on to another group here. We'll have a splash page. Um, that whenever a game loads up, there's always a splash that comes across the screen that says, the name of the company or whatever. Sorry, I'm going to be spacing out a lot as I and object. We need an object for that. Create an object. We'll call that OB splash. Now we're going to create another group. This will be the menu. That after the splash, it goes into the menu. So we're going to create a room for that. We'll call it RM menu. And then we're going to create an object for that, OB menu. And we'll colorize these so that where'd my color go? Oh yeah, I changed it. It's that. All right. That's set up how I like it. In fact, I'm going to do one more thing. I'm going to do this. Rooms. Then drag all these into that. Did I get that one? Nope. Wait a minute. There it is. That way everything is under that tab. I'll keep all rooms in there. Now we need another group for scripts. These are going to be functions that are going to be called. We'll create a group in here and call it library. And these will be all the functions that, aren't little useful things to help me, along the way. So let's start with some of that. Create a script, name it SC, and we're going to start with a simple draw alpha. Yes, there is a command to draw alpha, but I like to keep all my scripts and stuff with the same kind of formatting. Now I'm going to eliminate this SC at the beginning like that, name it this, format it like that, and I don't know why, but for my OCD I like to have these 3 empty spots at the end. I don't know why. We're going to color this. We'll give it some blue. Actually, we'll give it a green. All right. Now, what I'm going to do in here is I'm going to do a draw set alpha, and then we'll put an alpha in here like this. Now, this is going to be useful because this will allow me to reset alpha and do everything like that. So what I do is like that. Okay, now what you want to do here is you go like this. You go if argument 0, which, okay, without this statement, if without this right here, if I comment this out, you'll see when you hover over this, it says alpha is needed. It indicates that alpha is required for this function to run. But by putting this in an if statement, it brackets it out, and now that is an optional. If it's not supplied, it's not going to do anything. So what I do is this, and then I put this in an else statement, and now I can define the alpha. I want the alpha to be argument 0 if the argument is supplied, but if not, I want the alpha to be 1. This way, this acts as a reset if I do not supply an alpha. If I just call this function, if I just say draw alpha with no alpha in there, it's going to return the alpha 1. But if I supply the alpha, it'll actually change it. And if you don't know computer language, what an alpha is, you might want to look that up before you watch any of these videos. But the alpha is the transparency of whatever is being shown. So that's a handy little command. Now we're going to do the same, add another one, create another script, name this SC draw color. And now we're going to do the exact same thing. Now all these things are going to come in handy later when we actually start building, anything that's being displayed and stuff. It's going to need these functions to operate. So we, just like before, we do the draw set color, and then you add the color in here, bracket that off, then you go if argument 0. Oh yeah, this doesn't work. If argument 0 is not exactly the way you want to do this. You want to do this, unidentified. This is actually the way to do this. Yeah, I got to go back and change that other one too. Argument 0. I'm going to put this color in here. And then we'll go like this, and we're just going to type this in here for now. Now that's nothing. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into the library here, and I'm going to create another script. I'm going to call this SC Globals. Now we want this one to be green, but the globals is going to be a different color because it's a different kind of function. We'll give it this blue. Because this right here is not going to actually have a function. I'm going to use this to set macros in any global instances, because what happens is the script library gets loaded before any of the draw events, any of the step events. It's loaded at the create stage of the whole game, basically, and it doesn't really change thereafter. So you use it for loading constants, you'll use it for loading functions, you use it for loading globals, because anything here will be accessed throughout the game for the rest of the duration. So I'm going to add some key globals in here. First, I'm going to start off with this, FPS constant. And what this is I'm going to do speed, get game speed here, FPS. Okay, that right there gets the game speed of the FPS, which is 60 frames per second. And I can use this FPS content. I can use this FPS right here now as a multiplier on any number to get basically seconds as a timer. Like if I set a timer, I'll do an example of this. FPS right here. We'll go in here to the launch. Add a create event, add a step event. Now what I like to do with the opening here is, first off, we're going to need a room timer. Like how long do we want this room to last? And we'll say 3 seconds. And actually, I don't want to do this in step. I want to do this in the create event right here. I'll put it in the configuration because these are things that I might be able to change later. Room timer is 3, and then next room equals, let's see, RM splash. That's the one, right? Yes, because after the launch, it's going to go right into the splash. Now, we don't want this to stay up longer than 3 seconds. We want it to like be really quick, like a half a second. We'll say 0.5, and we'll comment this. To next room. There we go. Little comment just so that I know. And then we'll go in here and we'll go F next, wait, not next room, F room timer equals 0. We want it to do something after the timer has expired. And it's not actually defined yet because room timer right now is just 0.5. So that's going to be half of a step is what that will read as. If I count down this, it's just going to do half of a step. We want to convert this 0.5 into the FPS, and that's what that other thing was for. So we'll go like this, room timer equals FPS times room timer. So it's taking this value up here, 0.5, and multiplying it by this FPS, which we set over here as a macro, which is a constant of the game speed. So that right there is going to give us essentially 30 steps, which will be half of a second in game. So when this gets to 0, it's going to perform the action, but we'll do this, room timer minus minus. So this is going to count down every step. It's going to drop 1 off of the room timer, which we know is 30 because it's 5 times the FPS. So it's after 30 frames, it's going to finally perform this action in here. Now, a trick here is just to guarantee that this does not come back and read 0 again, I'm going to add that inside the bracket to make sure it's skipped to -1. So it's no longer equals -0, so it will not run this code a second time no matter what. Like if I want to make this object persistent, it'll keep counting down that timer even when we leave this room, and it'll keep reloading that room if that timer keeps getting back to 0. So you want to eliminate the possibility, make it go negative. And then we'll go to room. Actually, it's room, go to, and then next room. There we go. So basically, that's going to time down the seconds right there. And we can verify this by adding a draw event over here. We'll use our draw alpha, which we know will be negative like that. And we'll use a draw color, which I did not set. In fact, hold on. Draw alpha, this needs to be changed to not equals undefined. And I need a color in globals. So we'll go like this. Global dot default color equals, we'll say white. And then we'll add that to a macro. Say color, global, default color. There. Now that's set to this, and this is useful because it's set to a global scope, which means it can be referenced inside this function without me having to declare it up here or anything like that. So this will be white if nothing is defined in color. So we can go back here to the launch, set up our draw event where we're going to draw some text. We'll put it at, like, say 10, 10. We'll just say launch page, just to verify that we're on the launch page. And that's going to draw tag. If you don't know what draw command is, this is going to draw the word launch at the coordinates of 10 and 10 in the, which will basically be up here in the corner of the screen. And we can verify that right now. Let me make sure that that this works. I set up hotkeys to where this should load if I run a build here. So let's run it. You're not going to see it because, yep. Let's see if I hit the button there. Yeah, that works. It happened too fast. Let me turn out the timer here. Let me put up the timer. Let me make sure that this is all set. Timer, we'll put it to 5 seconds. And close this game out again. Let's see if I can do this in time. Okay, I'm showing OB. Okay, so we hit run, then I hit F7. That should be showing. It says launch up in the corner, and now it doesn't. Yeah, cool. All right, and see, I think it recorded right. So let's get rid of this, X out of that. We'll go back into here. And we'll keep coding. Showing the game is going to be a little tricky. I'm not savvy with this OBS program, but I think I've got it set up. And you know, when the game gets longer in scope, it'll be better for showing off what's going on. But there's nothing to show off here, and there's not going to be a lot to show off for a while because a lot of what I'm going to be doing is setting things up for things for later. Like now we need to duplicate this. We'll call it draw font. And we'll set this to font. Font. We'll do the same here. I'm going to type in font. Go in here to globals. Copy this. Change this to font. Change this to font. Change this to font. And we're going to say font default. Like that, which we don't actually have a font here. So let's create a group. call it fonts, right click, add a font. We'll just say the default font will be 18-point Arial. We're going to enable SDF, which some special functions that you can do on fonts. We'll name this font default. Just like that, we have a default font, which if you'll notice when you go back in here to globals, now this is red because it recognizes, it even loads, shows what the font is and everything like that, and you know, your size and all that. But so the draw font should load a default font unless we define it. And that's why I set these up, because yes, there is you know, I could just do this draw set font every time, but I want something that allows me to simplify the process and always do a default font if I don't supply anything, and still have the ability to supply something if I'd like. This is a twofold process. I got a reset and the ability to configure things. So let's add another one in here, create another script. We'll name this SC draw set. Move it up here, color it green. And this one's going to be a little bit more complicated, but it's basically just going to combine some of the other functions we've used so that I have one kind of master. Okay, I'm always going to want to supply a color. I'm always going to want to supply an alpha, but I'm only sometimes going to want to supply a font. So the way we do that is, this will be the, see, there's the 0 argument, first argument, second argument. So we're looking for F argument 2. Argument 2 in the array, not equal undefined. So this way I can leave off the font if I want. Font equals argument 2. Else actually, you know what? F nothing. I don't even want to do this. What I want to do is this. Draw set font like that, because I only want to do this draw if it's supplied. If not, I don't want it to draw this. So I'm just going to do that. I'm not going to, yeah. And then we do a draw set alpha. And we'll do alpha. And a draw set color. Because most of the time I'm just going to be resetting the color and the alpha. But sometimes I have to reset the font as well. And yeah, I have single commands over here that I can do that with, but this will shortcut things. You know, it's just, you don't have to do this stuff. Then we'll copy that, duplicate it. We'll say reset. We'll go in here. We'll supply that. Alpha would be 1. So if I hit draw reset, it's going to give me the default stuff. So this is another way of of setting up all this up with one call, default call. And all right, we might as well keep on adding some things here. It's all about building a library. These are all going to come in handy at some point. So we'll start with the SC align middle. Now what this is going to do is this is going to align text in the middle of an element so that, which is handy for like making buttons and stuff. You'll see at some point in these videos. Prophetic haze. Now I already have these set up right here. So this was align middle. I'm just going to copy and paste. Like that. And that'll align, center middle. And then we're going to duplicate this. Then have align reset. Which is basically the same thing, but with the top left. So copy and paste that. There we go. Align reset. Align middle. Color those. All right. That's that. Now let's. I'm just going to keep going with this. There's a lot of things I need to add. All right. Script SC. We're going to say center X. Now what this is going to do is this is going to center something in the middle of the screen. On the x-axis, we're going to have to do one for y as well. And the way we do this is a little tricky. First off, we'll do this width. This is going to be an optional argument to offset that. Like let's say I want to put a button in the center of the screen, but the button's anchor is in the left-hand corner of the button. So if I try to put that on the center axis, it's going to be off to the left, to a little bit to the right and down in the corner of the center X. And if I want to center it, I'm going to need to offset the width of that button. So I'm going to supply this as an optional offset to that thing. So f argument 0 not equal undefined. Oops. And we're going to do first off, okay, the way to do this is we do a variable out equals room width divided by 2. So that's the center of the room right there. But if we add this optional argument here, I'm going to do this and go out equals out minus width divided by 2. And that way, whatever, like if the width of the button is 100, it'll cut the width in half and move it over 50 minus from the X, which will offset the width of that button and technically center the button. And then we just return out. And the way this works is this creates the out variable right here that divides the room in half. If this argument is supplied, it's going to overwrite that out with this out minus the width. So that's how you do that. That's center X. And that, as you can see on here, that the width is optional, so I don't have to supply that, and that'll give me the direct X in the center. So we're going to duplicate that. Oops, I didn't mean to delete the whole thing. We'll name this center Y. Go in here, we'll change this to Y. We'll change this to height, because we'll do this. It just works the same way. It's the height of the button. Copy that, copy that, copy that, and that should be it. Yep, that looks right. Centers the Y, centers the X. Make those green. I'm going to move this out of the library. Put it on a different plane so that it doesn't mix with these. All right, I'm going to have a cigarette here. And all this stuff is going to come in handy at some point. I'm going to be using all of this stuff. These are all shortcuts used to build the game. Let's see, create a script, SC. We're going to call this one JSON save. It's funny. My name is Jason, so whenever I see these Jason things, fucking, I think they're, when this first came out, I was like, man, they made a language just for me. Look at that. Oops, I did not mean to delete that. All right, Jason save. I already have this one saved. I'm just going to copy and paste it because it's a little complicated. Copy this whole thing here. Copy. There, okay. What this does is you apply a string and a file. The string will be, generally it's a struct type of array. Um, this is going to stringify it, put it into a buff. The buff will then be added into a buffer create. The buffer will then be written. This determines the string length and everything. Like buffers are, save and everything like that. This will save it to an actual file, and this will delete the buffer right there. So basically what this does is it saves a file. It'll save a file, a JSON file, formatted with the JSON string. So this is going to be handy for saving information, saving the player state, saving key bindings, saving everything is going to be pretty much done with this little command right here. And then we're going to add another one, create a script, sc, and then we'll say JSON load. This is for loading the stuff that's in a JSON file, and I have that copied as well right here. All right. Same basic principle, loads a file. It's going to check out the file exists. If not, it's going to return. And that's kind of important because we don't want, bogus information to show up in here if the file's not there. It basically, creates the buffer, puts it in the string, deletes the buffer, and then it parses out the information. The other one put it into a string, it stringified it, and this one will unstringify it so we can get the information back out. And this will all be used here shortly, but in a little while. But handy stuff. This is all stuff you're gonna need. In fact, I should pretty much just make this first video all about building the library there, and we'll go from there. All right. Except I get a little spacey sometimes, and I smoke pot, and I'm trying to remember where I'm at. Okay. We got the room timer. It's going to go on to this next room. It's going to draw the launch. Then in the next room, we'll do the same basic thing. Create a create event. We'll add a draw event, a step event. And we'll add a draw event. Except I don't think we're going to even need the step event for this one. But we are going to do a draw. And we're going to do this room differently. The last room operated on a straight timer and it goes right into the splash. This one's going to have a few different things going on. First off, we'll start in the center. Draw alpha. Let's say draw set. We'll put that like that for now. Actually, what is that saying? What does it need? Did I leave the arguments in reset, draw, reset? I did. This doesn't need any of these. It does need the font argument. And the font argument can just be like the number 1. You don't have to actually supply a font to replace it with because it won't replace it. It's going to replace it with the default font. So basically, when you call this draw reset, as we do in here, I should not need an argument now. Yeah. It needs the font. Wait a minute. That doesn't seem right. Hold on. Draw reset. Oh, it's because it's argument 2 and this needs to be argument 0. That should do it. Now there's no underline, no error. And if I want, I can add a 1 here, and that'll actually reset the font as well. But I don't. Yeah, I might as well do that. Make sure that it goes at default font for now. That's good. I'm going to change that in a bit. But right now, I just want to. I need another script. Create script. Call this SC draw text. Yes, there is a draw text, but mine's going to do a little bit different here. My 3 spaces at the end and my 1 space right there. Now, of course, text, it needs an X, it needs a Y, it needs the text that you're actually going to display. Now I'm going to add another one here. I'm going to call it space, and I'm going to have another one here, and I'm going to call this one width. And that's to do the draw text extended one, which allows you to draw text boxes that will wrap around if they reach a certain length. So the space here will be like the space between the lines, and the width will be how far it can go out on the line before it goes to a new line. But those are all going to be optional. And the way I handle this is we're going to do okay, if argument, and this is 0, 1, 2, 3. So we're looking at 3 and 4 for this. If argument 3 not equal undefined, okay, that if there's something in argument 3, then it's going to read this. And now what we want to do is check if there's something in argument 4. Argument 4, undefined. Then we'll do an else statement here, because if there's not something in 4, there's only something in number 3, then we're going to treat these 2 different ways. So what we're going to do is if there's only an argument in 3, let's say I just put the number 1 there, it's going to treat that right here. This will be this. If 3 is defined but 4 is not, then that's going to be right here. And what we want to do is we want to center the text. So we'll just type this center text. If both things are supplied, then we want to do draw extended. And if argument 3 is not defined, we'll do an else down here, which is the final step, and this will be draw regular. So basically what's happening here is if argument 3 is supplied but argument 4 is not, it's going to center the text. If argument 3 and 4 are both, it's going to draw the extended. If argument 3 is not supplied, then 4 can't be supplied. It'll automatically go down here and draw the text. So now we do these texts. Draw text x, comma, y, comma, text. Okay, that's the basic one right there. We'll just copy and paste that, put it up here. For this, we're going to do align middle, then align reset. things we added over here. So that will center the text. It'll put it right in the middle. And then right here, I'm going to draw text. Make this extended. And then add commas, space, comma, width. And that should do it. That right there should be a full-on draw text that is configurable to do the extended drawing for reps. It'll center the text and it'll also draw regular. So go in here to splash. We can do this draw text. Actually, yeah, draw text. And then we'll do X, comma, Y, comma, text. And we're going to center it, but so we'll just do a 1, and that's it. And now let's get these in here. We'll do variable X equals center X. And I don't know how wide this has to be offset yet. Variable Y equals center Y. We'll say text equals splash. No. So I got to define it. Text equals ape like games presents ... That's my splash screen. Bam, 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 bam. And we might as well run it, see what's going on here. So let's hit run, then hit F7. What the heck's going on here? Okay, I don't know. Weird. Okay, draw set, draw is my alpha. Is my alpha not showing up? What's the deal here? Let me try this again. Hold on, run. Yeah, there's a problem. Not working. So we'll go back in, look at things. Draw reset. Draw set alpha 1. Color was set. Did I set the font? I did. I think it's the center X. Something's up with that. Hmm. Looks fine. I don't get it. Oh, you know what the problem is? Okay, you got to go in here to Splash, go to Instances. I never actually added this object to here, and I should probably do the same for the menu. Go in here and add the menu object as well for when I get to that. Now let's try this again. Make sure we're set to the game. Okay, so I'm going to hit run and then hit F7, and that should launch that. Yep, see, there's the center. See how it centers it? Is it not showing up in the game? It's not showing up in the browser here. Hold on. Um, I don't know. I can't get it to show. I can't get it to show the game project, but it says Ape Like Games Presents on the screen here, just like you would think it would. Wait a minute, why is that showing up weird? There's the launch. All right, click it back. I don't know if any of that showed up in the video, but oh well. Okay, where are we now? I don't know why I'm doing this like a tutorial. I should just fucking do things and add them as I go. Hide your daughters, your firstborn sons. All right, Splash. I'm gonna do some tricky things here. First off, let's see. Need a next room where we go after this. After this one, it's going to be going to RM menu. Now we want to have, okay, a fade in timer equals 3. We'll say 3 seconds. Actually, hold on. How do I want to do this? Now fade in rate equals 0.05. We'll say. Then a fade delay equals 3. No, we'll say 5. That's how many seconds it's going to delay in the middle, and then a fade out rate equals 0.05 again. Okay, now we need to define the alpha. We'll do that down here because that's not something that we want to change with alpha equals 0. Because we're going to start off not showing anything, and we're going to build, and then we're going to drop again. So go like this, add this, change that to alpha. And then, all right, we'll start right off. Alpha equals, no, alpha plus equals fade in rate. That's going to build up the alpha, and once the alpha gets to 1, we say if alpha greater than, because this might actually go above 1 on that tap up there, even though it'll only read a maximum of 1 as an alpha, that alpha will still climb up there. So we want it to just be 1 if it gets to 1. And that way, if it goes over 1, it'll just be 1. And now, once it gets here, we want to start the timer. So we go F fade delay. I hate how it loses the bracket when I do that. F fade delay equals 0. We do something there, but if not, we're going to keep going fade delay. Negative, negative. So it'll drop 1. And it's only going to do this once the alpha gets to 1. It's going to start this fade delay. And the fade delay timer will go to count down to 0. It'll be based on seconds because I didn't do that right here, but I want to do fade delay equals FPS times fade delay. That way it'll convert it to seconds. So it'll be 5-second delay. And then once the delay hits 0, we want it to keep, or well, actually want it when it goes to 0 or below, because it's going to keep ticking even afterwards. And we want this code to keep running every step. So we want, if it's 0 or lower, it'll keep on running. So once it gets to that, we're going to change our alpha minus equals fade out rate. Now that means once this timer is down, it's going to start fading out. And now once the alpha equals 0, actually once alpha is greater or equal or less than 0, because it might go lower, we want to do this, the code in here. You know what? I'm going to add one more step here. I'm going to add end delay. We'll say 2 seconds. So it'll be 1 second. Give it 1 second of darkness before it goes on after this. And we'll change this fade end delay equals FPS times fade and delay. There. Now we got 2 different timers. We got one of 5 seconds and one of 1 second. So at the end here, we'll do the same thing. If fade end timer or fade end delay equals 0, we do our thing. Actually, we'll say less than equals 0. And right here, no, we don't want to do less. We want to do exactly at 0, because this is going to do a room change command here. And we want to make sure that it doesn't do it again. So we do it the same way we did that on the first one, by plusing this or minusing this down. So it's going to tick down the fade in delay. Once it gets to 0, it'll tick down one more time to guarantee that it doesn't do it again. And then we'll go to room, or actually room, go to RM. Actually, it's next room, isn't it? Just like that. So now this should fade in the alpha and fade out. We're going to elongate this alpha just so that you can really see the effect. Long out the timer here. And then just to make sure that we know we're in the menu, I'm going to change the background of the menu to red. So this way we know once we're in the menu, we've left the splash and we're in the menu. And yeah, I don't know if this is going to actually play for you guys, but I'm going to run it and see here. Launch. It didn't fade in. And it's not fading out. Something's wrong. All right. So that didn't work. Delay too much. Fade in rate, fade out rate. Lower those. Oh, you know what? This is probably fucking everything up. It's going to do this alpha every time. So how about we do this? The way you handle that is you do a little simple flag. We'll say, we'll call this first time here equals true. Then we'll go if first time here. All right. So if first time here, it'll do the alpha thing right here. Once the alpha reaches 1, we're going to drop that first time here. So first time here equals false. So that should only run until it gets to 1, and then this will never run again. And that should maybe fix our problem here. So let's find out. I hope you're seeing the game here. Ape like presents. It didn't fade in again. So it's not going to fade out again. Fuck, I'm going to need pot for this. All right. Okay. So the alpha goes down, or it goes up to 1. And once it gets to 1, except it's not doing this here. Okay. Draw set, no, draw alpha. Draw text. We'll say 500, 500, and I want to see what the alpha is. It being a number, it's good to put it into a string form. That should always show up. Let me run this again and see what it says. Launch. It goes right to 1. Yeah, it almost instantly, like to 1. It was at 0, and then it goes down to 9.5 and stops. So it is changing the alpha, but it's not changing it enough. It goes up instantly and then fade in rate. There's something here. How about we try this? Alpha times fade in rate. See what that does. Did I forget to put this back over? I did. Ha! You're not seeing what I'm doing. So I added this alpha times fade in rate, and we'll see what that does. So we'll go up here, build, run. Do. Still at 0. But why is this showing? If alpha's at 0, why is it showing? I don't get it. All right. Why is it showing a 0 alpha? But see, if there's a 0 alpha here, how is this even showing? Oh, you know what? That's because this is just gonna. I don't need to provide anything with alpha. Alpha is just gonna reset the font. You know what? I'm dumb. That's what I needed right there. Do. Whoa, that when I hit F8, it amplifies everything. All right, so let's see. Okay, so we'll try this again. Hit run, F7. See if this fades in. It's just staying at 0. Okay, that's not good. What's up with this screen? Why is it? It's weird. All right. I don't know why that's doing that. Boy, F8 is just making shit bigger here every time I do it. I gotta stop that. I gotta do something with that. In fact, yeah. Anyway, that's what I'm doing. That's an hour-long video. I'm gonna come back to this, but I gotta set up better commands for how to handle the hotkeys here, because every time I had it set up to hit F8 to change the windows in OBS, but it's also magnifying the text in there, and I don't know how to change it back without screwing up my hotkeys. So I'm gonna have to play with that for the next video. But I keep coming back to this, I think, and I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing. Anyway, I'm gonna figure that out, and I'll be back.